Hi everyone, good afternoon once again, and thank you for joining the 15th session of the Podium Tech Talk series organized by Asiata Digital Labs. In this series, we explore the latest trends in the world of technology and digital transformation from our very own tech experts and the services that ADL provides that accelerate the global rate of digital transformation. So, for today's session, we will be delving into the exciting realm of streamlining the app deployment process with AppCenter, revolutionizing the way we build and release mobile applications. Today, we have Thilina, a tech lead in mobile engineering with a BSc in computer science, MSc in information security. He is also a certified information security expert and Cisco certified network associate who will be leading our session on streamlining app deployment process with AppCenter, building an efficient development pipeline. His extensive expertise with AppCenter and diverse certifications make him the ideal guide to uncover the platform's potential. So, without further ado, let's hand over the session to Thilina as he shares invaluable insights and techniques to accelerate app deployment, streamline pipelines, and foster collaboration among developers, propelling your mobile app deployment to new heights. So, over to you, Thilina. You can start your session now.
Thank you, Diana. Hope I'm audible. Yes, right. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for joining the session. Let me start. Actually, the topic here is will be for this session is streamlining app deployment process with App Center. Normally, we know how hard, like as a software engineer, what we do if we are into, let's say, mobile development. We just plan the development. Let's say we start coding, then we use GitLab or let's say GitLab or GitHub as a version control system. So we manage some code. Then when it comes to deployment and let's say QA releases, we build the application and we submit. So normally that's the process what we do. But with App Center, actually what we are trying to do, we try to focus more on coding and less on the deployment process. So that's what we are actually trying to achieve here. So basically, for today's topic, actually, the agenda will be like I will be starting with the App Center, like what is App Center, like how it will be helpful for us in terms of, let's say, mobile development and the current challenges when it comes to the application development process, sorry, application deployment process mainly. Then the benefit of using App Center or the currently what we do. Then multiple platform support what they are giving with App Center features, and then after that I'll be demonstrating like how to create a project, starting with creating a project into like uh, I mean configuring it to support CI/CD pipeline. Then starting from that, I will go through how that after the integration how it will be built, and we can use UI test automation with App Center. So apart from that, I'll be going through linking App Store and Play Store for distribution into, let's say, live or test flight. Then apart from that, actually, I'll be again explaining you how there are other methods of distribution like with groups and how we manage the releases. And after that, I'll be concluding the session with the best practices of using the App Center. So that will be the agenda I'll be covering during this session. So let's start with App Center. So basically, like I mentioned previously, the main challenge we have when it comes to the development, like we know how to code. Sometimes we are struggling with the deployment process because let's say it could be due to issues in our laptops or our devices, and we might not have correct let's say internet connectivity. Sometimes let's say you start deploying something to let's say Apple Store, then all of a sudden your connectivity breaks, so all your time is wasted till you upload. So that's again one thing. And sometimes when you have to deal with version updates. Let's say the libraries you have is not compatible with the current version, so you have to think those kind of things. But when it comes to AppCenter, like you don't have to worry about that. So it's a powerful tool, like which help us to streamline the deployment process. And currently it supports mobile and Mac OS development. So Microsoft keep adding these new features time to time. And apart from that, automation build, like they allow testing and deployment mechanisms as well, and the various things like analytics, crash analytics, and uh, like they support. So if I talk about the current challenges in Apple deployment process, like like I mentioned previously, like we might have so many platform to worry about, then code signing and certificate, because each platform, if you take the way we sign the uh, development, like the product is different. Like if you take Android, you need a key store to sign and submit to store. And when it come to iOS, or you need provisional certificates to sign and deploy. So you need to worry about those things, and you need to maintain those uh, core signing certificates with you. And when it comes to platform fragmentation, you might uh, be working in, let's say, Windows environment where you need to build for iOS application with React Native, let's say. So, so those are the big challenges you have. And when it comes to deployment, you might have to keep these store files, I mean, key store files in your uh, in project if you are building yourself. So that is also something not recommended. So like I have mentioned, so multiple platform when you develop, it's bit challenging. Let's say not just the React Native. Let's say you are developing a native application with Kotlin or Java. So and you are working on let's say iOS-based development with Xcode. I mean Swift. So you have to worry about the deployment process, because each and every platform, how we deploy is bit different to each other. So you need to worry about that. And each and every platform, they have their own set of requirements, their own guidelines, their own development tools, so you need to worry about that also. And sometimes it might lead to like a complex, it might be complex for some people to like get in touch, because if they are like used to it, like it will be okay for them. But if someone new comes, they might have to learn the flow. So that is also one thing we have to consider, like in the normal flow. Apart from that, when it comes to code signing and certificate, so that is actually one thing, I mean, essential when it comes to app deployment, because APK, you have to sign the certificate, sign with the certificate, then only you can upload to Play Store. Then same as IPA files, you need to I mean, sign with the certificate, then only it will accept from the Play Store, I mean App Store. So, and apart from that, like I mentioned before, you have to renew certificate. Let's say, when you create a store file, key store file, you can create for like 2, 3 years. That is fine. But when it comes to Apple certificate, provisional profiles, you have to create for 1 year. Then automatically it will like renew. So if you are managing manually, you might have to renew the certificate, and you need to download. So these kind of things will be complex when it comes to like you might have to work on the development side as well as this. So it's a here, I mean, burden for you. So let's jump into App Center, the main benefits of it. So now, like I have mentioned, like it supports CI/CD pipeline. So the tools they are giving, it support very well. So with a single tool, actually, they say you can manage the development to deployment process. So you don't have to worry about different tools. You don't have to code in, let's say, Visual Studio, then deploy with using command. You don't have to do anything. It's all automated, and it has some testing capabilities also. Like if you want to do a UI testing once you build the application, So you can test it along with the unit testing also if you want. If you have the application and you have written some unit testing, and you can make sure your unit test, if the unit test pass only, it will build. So these kind of things you can set up. And the app distribution part, main thing. So if you know, like if you're an Android developer, like you build the application I mean app bundle, then you have to manually navigate to, let's say, Play Store and publish it. Or let's say you can put to beta testers, or let's say internal testing. So alpha testing, beta testing, you have to put it manually. But with App Center, it's simplified. You can define when the build is when the release is built, so you can distribute to in whatever environment you want. And again, apart from that, it support over the installation, and it support test flight like I have mentioned before. And apart from that, like if you have, let's say, building application, complex application, let's say with for multiple environments, so you have that flexibility where you control, let's say you have a few branches called develop, QA, then release or staging, and master. So you have four different environments, and you need to make sure each version, like each build is different to each other, like how you distribute a develop, I mean, build from develop branch is different to how you distribute to from, I mean, if a build created from QA branch. So you have that flexibility also with App Center. So, and apart from that, like multiple platform support, I think I have again discussed, I mean, previously. So with a single tool, like you are able to manage so many, I mean, the full whole application platform. Like it could be like React Native or Flutter, like even native and development. You name it, actually they have it. So create separate build configuration, like I mentioned. You have dev, QA, staging, and let's say master branch. So each and every branch you can put the configuration separately. That is also possible. Then and another good thing, like if you build the application for iOS, you can integrate Apple Store. So where you directly push the releases there. Then Google Play Store, you can define if you have building for Android development. So that also they support. So let's dive in the creating a project in App Center. Here actually in App Center, let's say you are going to build uh, an Android application. Sorry, mobile application using React Native. So normally you are targeting iOS and Android both. But when creating a project in App Center, if you want to target both, you have to create two different projects. So basically, you need to select the operating system as Android, then you create one as a React Native, let's say demo app Android. So, and you have to give a unique name there and icon if you want. Release type is optional actually. You can have some varieties like production, beta testing. So you have several type, but it's not something uh, mandatory, like important. So you can go with the OS and the platform. And like I have mentioned, if you have a React Native application, you are targeting both environments. Uh, you need to select iOS and create one app, then Android and create one app. So let's say once you create the application, you need to connect your app, I mean, a repository like a Git repo into App Center, so that it will show all the branches you have been working with. So for now, let's say you have you might be using Azure DevOps, so GitHub, Bitbucket, or GitLab. You can use these supported Git repositories, but time to time, I think even they are increasing this one. I think initially they support on Azure, GitHub, then they keep on adding this GitLab and Bitbucket. So let's say when you are adding GitLab, you have two options. So there could be GitLab.com, like main from directly from GitLab. You are using account or self-hosted account, so you can use. So if it is GitLab.com, you might have to them like you have to ask. They will ask you the username and password. Then if it is a self-hosted, you have to create a key and connect to GitLab. Sorry, connect to AppCenter. So let's say once you log in, it will show that particular projects here. So you simply have to select it. So once it is selected, the branch will come here. So you will see all the branches will appear here. So let's say let's dive into CI/CD pipeline, like how we are going to like automate the build. So we can make that like one point. We can make the triggers so that if you make a merge request and if you like approve, you can make the application build automatically and test and deploy. So that is possible. So let's see how that can be done. So when you create a browser, let's say when you connect the repo and when you navigate into that particular branch, you have this option where you need to configure the build. So when you just press on configure build, there. So before that, actually, like if you are targeting Android and iOS, you need to make sure you have these set of files. So if you are building an Android application, you need to have a key store file, an alias. So where when you create this key store file, you will have that alias and the key store password. And when it comes to iOS, so you need to have a provisional profile and a certificate. So that certificate actually you don't have to directly upload. So you have to generate a P2L certificate file. Then you need to, when generating the P2L file, you will have to give a password. So these things you need to uh, keep. So then only you can proceed with the build. So here in the build information, let's say we start with iOS. So project will automatically detect you have the JSON file. So if you have a different file, you can define there. And shared scheme will define what kind of release you are planning. So let's say you have built so many, let's say multiple schemes. Let's say for QA, you have one separate one, staging one, then you have the production one. So scheme you can define from Xcode, and whatever the schemes you have defined will come here. And you can define the Xcode version you have, what is the like this stable version you can define. Sometimes you might have noticed, like if you use the upper, I mean the recent releases, recent versions, the application won't build, so there could be issues. So most stable version for your application you can select here, and the Node.js version you are using you can use. And about this build script I will come later. So you have build script like post clone, pre-clone, pre-build, and post-build. So this about this build script I will mention. Then apart from that, we have the build frequency, like I mentioned previously. When the code is merged, you can define whether the build start automatically when the like branch is merged, or you can manually select this option. So sometimes you might see a manual option also better when it come to the pricing. That also I will come in future. Then you can select the legacy build system if you want, or the build number if you want to increment automatically rather than like committing with that number. So you can define, so you can, it will automatically increase the build number for you. You don't have to worry about managing it from the code level. Then unit testing you can run. If you have written unit testing with the command, they will quickly check if the unit testing is passed or not. Based on the pass rate, then it will start building. Then the environment variables that your application use is common. So when this device, I mean when this build is built, so all the environment variables will be accessible. So these variables will be accessed by even the build script, they can access. And the next big thing is signing the certificate. So when it comes to signing, like I have asked, I mean mentioned previously, you need to have a provisional profile as well as the P2L file. So you need to upload that files here. So when it comes to Android, the same way, it will detect the JSON file. Then you have the build variant. So here also, like with Gradle, build Gradle, you can define how many, like what are the release types you have. So let's say you have a staging build, uh, QA build, or let's say dev build and production build. So each build you can differentiate with using this variant, and you can define the Node.js version. So and the build frequency same as before, and generating a bar. So you might have noticed when it comes to iOS and Android, the configuration is bit different. So but they are mainly focused on let's say if it is iOS, they how the iOS is built. So when it comes to Android, they focus, then they give features which is like unique for Android, especially like this app bundle. Like when it comes to App Store, sorry, Play Store, they are asking you to install the app bundle. So if you want to like go to that process, you can enable this. So basically it will build the app bundle also. Then if you want, you can enable the version code, or you can manage coding level side. Then you have to select the unit test. If you select, the same thing will happen. And here app signing is bit different. Either you manage the key, like there's two methods actually you can follow. One, you can upload the key store file here into this one, into the build configuration. When it comes to app signing method, then you have to give the alias and the password. Or the other option, you need to include the uh, key store file and the key store what your credentials in the same source code. But sometimes it's not a good practice to store these signing keys uh, in within the code. So I will tell you another way to avoid that. So here, like I have mentioned about the build script. So these are the files, actually, I mean, the features they have given. They have three build scripts. So you can use post clone, pre-build, and post build. So post clone stand like once the cloning process is done. So basically it will start a virtual machine, then it will clone the project you have. So let's say you have the branch develop, and it will just clone the whole project into that particular machine. Then it will clone it. So once it is cloned, you can write comma execute this command. So basically this will happen like once you clone it. Then pre-build stand for like before building, like once it is cloned, and right before building it will trigger. So you can here you can use this one for, let's say, by clear, let's say, node modules. If you have, normally node modules folder is not available, but log files, if you have if you find any issues with the log file and you need to do custom configuration, you can use pre-built script. And post-build script indicates like once the build is success, so it will run this script. So with using this script, you have the, let's say if it is Android, you have the Android file APK or the app bundle file. So if you want, you can use this script to upload this artifacts to a separate location if you want. So that is feasible with the post build, and this will run even though the application like app build fail or success. So I will go through one by one what you can do. So here using post clone. So what you need to do in the root folder, you have to define a file called a shell script called AppCenter post clone. So as you do this, you can write the shell script to do a function like according to this. If you have a, let's say, a project, so you can clone another project into the same source code. Then you can run some commands. So basically this will this will work once you clone the project. Then pre-build, so something similar. Let's say I have told you like the key store, like uh, key store file for Android. So normally we don't store in source code, I mean, in Git repos. So what we do, we can store this one in a remote location, or using, let's say, credentials, you can download and manually put into Android app folder. So here into this, in this one, actually what we have done, we have used our Google Cloud storage, where we have uploaded the that key into that location. So based on that pre-built script, every time if it is a production release, what we do, we download the uh, Google Cloud SDK, we unzip. Then we have set some parameters in environment variables. Then what we do, we use that to connect to Google Cloud. Through SDK, we connect to Google Cloud Storage. Then we copy that file, paste into Android and app folder of that particular AppCenter directory. So then we have that key store file in the that virtual machine. Then let's say about the post build, we have the, if we need to create something called AppCenter post build shell script. So if it is success, we can define, like, if we can simply upload our APK or IPA file to a specific location. So that is also possible with these scripts. So let's say you have selected all these things, then it will run for like 20 to 35 minutes. Within that period, it will run. So, and it will give you, if it is a success, it will give you a screen like this. So it will indicate the duration it ran and the unit test if it is running, and launch tested. So basically launch tested mean it will try to install that in a physical device and see if it is okay or not. Then if it is signed, it will say yes. And about the build number, they will it will show. And if it is success, it will show this green color icon. Otherwise, it will show the red color cross. So that is same for iOS as well. You have the same thing: unit testing, launch, and sign. So if it is success, you will see this icon. And based on the configuration, let's say in the build settings, you have already defined this build should go to a group, I mean, set of users, or it will directly upload to Play Store or App Store as in place flight. So you can define. Apart from that, if a build is success or failure, let's say you want to see the logs, you can click on download, and you can download the, if it is iOS, you can download the IPA file, and you can download the build logs. Then when it come to Android, you can download the APK file. And if you have defined you are going to build app bundle, you can do that also. You can download that also, and you can download the build script, build logs. So basically these things you can do. Now let's say about it's a cool feature. Actually, they have this UI testing. So actually this comes with the price. About the price I will mention later. But when you build, so like before distributing, what you can do here is they have this few testing frameworks. So using that, you can install this application automatically. Like once it is built, it will install to the devices you have mentioned. Let's say you can pick a couple of devices and it will install. And if you have written UI testing rules, so it will trigger based on the test cases you have written. So, and there's an interface, really, I mean, interface based on the role, like for each and every device, whether it's passed or failure. So you can see. And when it comes to limitations, so mainly like you can start testing using free tier. So build time, if I talk about, like it will give you like one build per organization or account if you have. So let's say you have I told you, like if you are building for iOS and Android, there'll be two applications. So that means if you are building it simultaneously, let's say parallelly, it will be two builds. So they are not supporting that. So they support only one build per organization. So if you are running Android, you can run Android first. Then only you can run iOS. And as a free tier, they are giving you 240 build minutes. So they are calculating based on the minutes. And each build normally take around, let's say, 25 to 30 minutes. But sometimes I have experienced like even it went more than 60, but the very next time it went to 30. So in average, like 25 to 35 you can take. So normally if you are running a free tier, like you can survive up to like 8 to 16 bills per month. And when it comes to this testing feature, like free tier, they are giving you 30-day trial for 1 month. One sorry, 1 month, one with one device with unlimited device hours. So basically, you can try it with one device only. So if you have, let's say, multiple device to test, that won't be like work for you. But multiple device hours they are giving. Then we come to paid tier. So paid tier, like with they charge $40 for this per month. So you have unlimited build minutes. Like before, I think 240 minutes they are supporting, but now the build time minutes is unlimited. But per build, the maximum they can allow is 60 minutes per build. And let's say additional concurrent build for the pipeline, they will charge another $40. Let's say you need to automate both iOS and Android when the code gets merged to dev branch. So you need to take a paid tier of like two concurrent builds. So then only it will start building parallelly. Then when it comes to testing, you have the same 30-day free trial. So after that, if you want, you can take this 99 per device concurrency. So this means you can once it is built, it will try to install uh, based on, let's say you have selected one device, it will install on that particular device and give the results. Let's say you need a few more devices, so it will test. I mean, one device per time. Like it will search for like a device, physical device, then it will install. So then it will go to the next one. But this one also similarly, if you want to run on multiple devices parallelly, you have to uh, get another bit like for $99. So basically, it will run parallelly. So that will come like more costly because $99 again you have to pay. So the main downside will be like if you are starting to, let's say, touch and work on this app center, okay, but 20 it will take normally 25 to 35 minutes. You can get used to it, but when it come to the organization level, like if you want to use app center, normally you have to go with $40 per month package. Otherwise it will be easy, like within few days you will cover up that their limit, because with each build uh, they are giving only 240 minutes. So now the application, let's say I have explained how the application is built. So each branch you can define the build settings. Now we will come to the distribution part and the how we are going to release. So when it comes to distribution, so you can distribute among testers, beta users, and even production users you can distribute. So and when it comes to distribution option, like I have mentioned before, like OTA installation is possible, then beta testing is possible, and even you can directly push to App Store. And yeah, when it comes to like release channels, you can customize, like you can define uh, several groups that creating groups also I will mention in future slides. And you can create groups, then you can allocate this group for this particular release. Let's say for developers, dev release, it's not ideal to send this release to our QA team, so you can stick with developers. So you can create a group there, release that that bundle or this that version with that particular group. So let me demonstrate how we can add Android in App Center. So sorry, Google Play in App Center. So For this one, actually, what you need to do, like you need to create something called a service account in Google console. Then you need to create a key. Then, sorry, you need to create a key there. Then you need to provide permissions. Then it will download. It will give you a JSON file to download. I think it automatically it downloads. Then you need to upload it in AppCenter, then only it will appear. So about the process, I will go through the process one by one. So step one will be you need to go to Google Cloud, GCM, then uh, you need to go to navigate to service account, then you need to create one account. So once you create account, you need to make sure you can click and go inside of it, then you can create a key. So once you create a key, automatically that file will be downloaded, and then you navigate to, I mean, for this one actually you need to have owner permission of that account, otherwise you won't be able to do this task. Then you need to give permission. Once you give the permission, uh, navigate to AppCenter. So then you can click on stores, connect to store, then you can select Google Play here. So once you click Google Play, it will ask for that particular JSON file, so which you have downloaded previously. Upload it. So here you need to provide the package name. So here one thing to remember, like for this to work, you need to have at least like this product or like the project you are applying in published in Google Play at least one time. So then only it will uh, this method will work. So you need to provide the package name. When you assign, uh, it will come like this. So you have the separate stores like production, beta, and alpha. So now when you are building, so when it comes to distribution, you are able to select either production, beta, or alpha. So that is there. Then let's go through how we do with iOS. So the same way, you need to link, then you need to select the application. So this one is pretty straightforward. So once you click on the store, so it will ask for you to like navigate to App Store. So here we have two options. One, either you connect with the API key, or the second option, you directly log into the developer account. So you give the Apple ID and the password. So it will ask the like OTP and so that two-factor authentication code. Then once it is authenticated, it will show the applications you have under that account. So basically you need to click on the account, click on the application. So once you click, it will show these kind of store and the test flight details. So here also, if you are when you are building, so when it come to distribution, you can select manually like where you want this release to go, like either production or test flight some group, so internal testing group. So you can define that. Then you have the collaborative app development with AppCenter. So basically, how you develop with the team we are focusing on. So like team management, when it comes to team management, like you can invite many people, many team members to this one, and let's say you can assign with roles. Let's say like I mentioned, for developers, you can create a group and you can assign all the developers there, and you can create a QA team, QA group, and assign all the QA team members there. So based on the development release type, you can select that particular uh, team and send the release. And source control integration. So basically, we are using GitHub, Bitbucket, and Azure. So based on that, like collaboratively, we can develop the application, and we can build and test. So with AppCenter CI/CD pipeline, like even any team member who is, let's say, uh, not familiar with the building capacity, but they are able to uh, deploy, or let's say they are able to build whenever they want. And even as we have automated the testing, so test process that also go based on the configuration. Then when it comes to communication and notification, once with AppCenter, like once a build is released, if you have selected a group, it will give you a notification on the build status. So normally notification will come when the build is success and release to that particular uh, group. Otherwise, like if you are a user, like you can see if the build is failed or not, if it is like the status. And distribution and beta testing, like you can distribute simply to beta testing or uh, test flight easily without any manual interaction. So let's see how we have to create a group here. So once you go inside the like dashboard, there's something called groups. So when you click on groups, you can select a group, like whatever the groups available here, it will display. So if you don't have anything, you can add a group. So once you add a group, you can give a name there. So let's say you have a group name called let's say developers. So in the developers, you can assign testers, and you can make it public if you want. So if you make it public, you don't have to add users there because it's public. And if you have added users, only that those particular specific users can access this release. So let's say a release, there's a release like you have configured the pipeline, so it built success, then it there's a release uh, went to, let's say, App Store. So you will see another releases something like this. So destination based on the selection, you can say it's App Store. The IPA file is uploaded there. So if you want, again, you can manually download this one, or you can distribute the same release again to, let's say, another group if you want. So that particular that specific things you can do here. And about the release notes, normally the release note takes from the version control what you like type when you merge. So these are the things we take in the release note, or when you are manually distributing, you can define the release note there. And let's say about the notification, when you received a new version, you will get a notification like this email notification. This application is like available for testing. So click on install, then log into your account, then you are able to download it, even the IPA file as well as Android APK. Then about the best practices, I would say you need to make sure your version control, you need to make sure your version control is perfect. Otherwise, like even though you have this build mechanism, like it will fail, because if your source code is like is bulky and there are issues with it, still even though you have these proper mechanisms added, there will be problems. And you need to implement CI/CD pipeline correctly, and you need to make sure like the automatically built triggers are in place. Normally, sometimes, like $40 into two times, like if you have iOS and Android both, if you have make sure like you have trigger it automatically based on the build type, like uh, let's say dev will release, you might not need automatic triggers, and sorry, you might need automatic triggers, but staging you can like avoid, but still better, like based on that, is also based on the plan. So you have selected, if you have a $40 plan, so you cannot make it automatically, but make sure you have that in place. So like two packages, like you have taken like $40 two $40 each packages, then you can build automatically and test your application. And another thing, uh, sign certificate and provisional profiles. Every certificate will be like expire each year. So you need to make sure you track that. So once it is like, let's say, expired, you need to renew it and renew advance. Then in the B setting, you go and upload. So that is also one thing, one critical thing you have to make sure. So you don't have to update that so many places. So only in App Center, that is enough. Then you need to make sure proper release management process, like based on your environment type, you need to like define the release pipeline, like I have mentioned, dev, QA, staging, and production. So you will submit to store the production only in master branch. So, and when it comes to staging, it will send to, let's say, our staging UAT uh, team members. So this pipeline you need to define correctly based on the current requirement, and make sure unit testing testing also in place to maintain the quality of the product. Then for the communication, so make sure you use AppCenter's built-in features like notification system, like when you are distributing to a group, you can there's an option to like notify the team or not. So unless you use a release note separately, it's better if you use the AppCenter's notification system. So that'll be easy for you as well as professional. And that will be it, the presentation. So if you have any questions to ask, now is the time.
Yeah, so thank you, Thilina, for that very enlightening session. So we'll be moving into a Q&A session, like you said. So if anyone has any doubts or questions regarding the topic, please drop them in the comment section so that Thilina can address the questions. So we'll give everyone a few minutes. If you all have any questions, to please insert them into the chat now. Um, so if nobody has any questions, I think that we can conclude this podium session. So, on behalf of the entire audience, I would like to express our sincere gratitude for your exceptional session on streamlining app deployment process with AppCenter. I think I speak for all of us when I say that your insights have equipped us with more knowledge than what we possessed before this session. So, thank you for sharing your expertise, and we look forward to more enlightening sessions from you in the future, Tilina. And also, thank you everyone for joining, and hope to see all of you in our next podium session.